Andrews looking to go on the outside of Mill, gets round him, ball across from Adams. Oh, it's a strike! Another 3 points for the Falkirk Bairns.
One eternity later.
Chewie, we're home.
What is happening, Bairns? Welcome to In the KM, One South Standard's point of view on all things navy blue. As always, I am your host, Ray. Today's video, we will be looking ahead to Saturday's visit of Ayr United, where we are finally returning to the Falkirk Stadium after what feels like about 5,000 years and about £5,000 later. Non-stop fucking away games, which, yeah, it was good for a wee while. The novelty has well and truly worn off, and I'm just buzzing to be back. And the irony isn't lost on me as well, by the way, that I create a channel called In the KM, and I've never actually sat in my own seat since I've started this channel. So I'm absolutely buzzing to do that, and can't wait for that. Big time. Few other things to make you aware of as well. I'm going to be starting a new segment on my reaction videos. It's going to be called Pie or Die, where I will be reviewing a pie on each match day. I'll also be looking to engage with supporters of other clubs as well that we're going to be travelling to throughout the rest of the season, and get a gauge on like what the most popular pie is at each ground, and then I'll look to award it a score out of 5 pies. I'll be looking to do that starting this Saturday as well, and I'll be looking to really just go through the menu at Falkirk, because there's not going to be that many times I'll be doing it, but I'll be looking to do that with all the away games. So anyway, something else I wanted to start off by mentioning. On my last video, the reaction video for Wraith Rovers, I did forget a couple of things to mention. I thought that Caelan Adams had a really, really good game against Wraith Rovers. Yet again, a standout performance by the boy. There was a lot of negativity around that game because we didn't play very well, but I shouldn't have forgot to mention him. He was really good in that game. Same with Luke Graham as well. I thought he didn't put a foot out of place. He looks like he'll be a decent find if we're going by that one performance. Let's see how he handles things going forward. So, on to Falkirk news heading into the game on Saturday. Nothing new to report in regards to Callum Morrison. Could we possibly see him make an appearance off the bench, I wonder? I wouldn't at all be expecting him to start the game on Saturday. I think it's just far too soon for him. But we might see him, if he is back up to fitness anyway, we might see him start making small appearances off the bench just to get his match fitness back up. After the injury that Nesbitt got, and I'll speak about him in a minute, after the injury he got when McGlynn brought him on against Dunfermline, I don't see McGlynn making that same call again. I think he will be a bit more cautious, because bringing Nesbitt on in that game, he ended up being out for another well over a month. And he only came on the pitch for about 10-15 minutes. And we can't afford any silly, needless injuries. So if it means that we've got to be patient with bringing Callum back into the match day squads, then I think that's the right decision. We cannot afford any more injuries. We've got to be patient here, as much as we want to just bomb all these guys right back into the team. Speaking of Aidan Nesbitt, I feel like it's probably the same scenario. I think that if you were going to see him start this game, he would have played maybe a bit longer against Wraith Rovers, i.e. all of the second half. I think that we will definitely see him come off the bench, but I wouldn't be expecting him to start this match. Could be wrong in this, but I don't think he will start the game personally. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. In regards to Cole Donaldson as well, be interesting to see if he returns to the match day squad, because there's not been a lot to say that he's got a long-term injury or anything like that. McGlynn didn't mention anything major in regards to him on the last interview that he did, so I'm hoping it's really just a knock, and hopefully he will be back on Saturday. However, you've got to imagine that if he doesn't play, that Luke Graham will slot in like he did against Wraith Rovers, and I would feel confident that he'll do an okay job. But what I would be interested in is what happens going forward, right? When Cole is fit again, what happens, because the thing to remember is that Luke Graham's a left-sided defender, so he wasn't brought in to play where Cole plays, he was brought in to play alongside Cole. And I just wonder if that means that maybe the plan is to play Graham instead of Hendo and possibly move Hendo back into midfield. I feel like that is definitely an option that's viable, because whilst I think that Spencer and Tate work fantastically well together, they don't have that bite and that dig that Hendo does, especially with his long shots and that as well. I think that you could see a midfield trio of them, with maybe Tate being a bit further forward, and then you've got the options of guys like Yates and Nesbitt coming off the bench. That makes a lot of sense, and then Hendo can always drop back into defence if need be. But that seems to be what I could see happening, absolutely. Now, the other thing as well is that, has McGlynn worked on something else this week? That's really a burning question for me, because using the exact same system that McKeever slots into so perfectly well without the type of player that can really thrive in that system, it'd be interesting to see how McGlynn handles this, because is Shanley going to be able to hold up the ball as well as McKeever? Nah, of course no. He's no that level of player, and I'm not slating the boy. If he does start, he'll get my full back in, my full support. But we've got to be realistic. We know that he's no as good as McKeever. He's no, but hopefully he can go out there and prove a point if it is him that starts. If we end up going with Gary Oliver, let me know, troops, what you think, but I'm not convinced Gary Oliver's the answer up top, and I think that the McKenna experiment, I think that I don't need to spend any time talking about that. That didn't work. Let's move on for that. I'd still like, I'm like a broken record here, but I would still like to see Alfredo Aguiman given a chance up top, because I think that he could do a good job, but we'll just have to wait and see. I wonder if there is maybe been a plan B worked on. Possibly not, because I know McGlynn isn't really like that. He tends to have one way that he wants to play, and that's it. So, on to the Ayr United side of things. I know that they were desperately trying to sign a striker before the window shut, similarly to us, but were unsuccessful in finding anybody of a sufficient standard. Funny that. And that's, of course, down to the fact that Dowds is most likely out for the whole season, which I know from a rival supporter standpoint, you could be like, oh, that's well funny, like they've lost their best player. It's absolutely gutting when it happens, and you see it happen with that boy at Aberdeen as well, that Gaye, or however you pronounce his name. He's out until January as well. It's so cruel how often this happens, where a guy is absolutely on fire and they get an injury at the absolute worst time. I don't know if it's just pushing their body too much, or it's just sod's law, I suppose. Same with McKeever as well. That injury for him came off arguably the best performance he's put in a Falkirk shirt, and then it just completely halts all his momentum. It's really, really harsh. Football was really cruel sometimes. I know as well that Ayr have really, really been struggling with injuries of late. For example, their 17-year-old fourth choice goalkeeper has been playing a few of the games lately, with Stone, who we tried to sign, of course, the backup, and the third goalie all out as well. So, bit of an injury crisis there going on at Ayr at the moment. In terms of their form, they've won 2 out of the last 5 games, which was firstly a 3-2 win over Wraith Rovers, lucky for some, and most recently a 1-0 win against Morton. Out of the 9 games that Ayr United have played so far in the Championship, it's important to bear in mind that 6 of those games have actually been at home. So they've only actually been away from home 3 of those games, and they've only managed to pick up one teeny weeny win away from home, and that was against Accies. And, beating Accies, big deal. So, in terms of head-to-heads as well, as you'll all remember, because it wasn't that long ago, we lost our most recent match to Ayr United in the League Cup group stages Don't know if you remember though that even though we lost that game, we still got out in the group, and they didn't, because they bottled it against Bucky Thistle, could only score 3 goals and conceded 2. And the match in question, the 1-0 that we lost recently away at Somerset Park, was a really, really close match. We were very unlucky to lose that match, and I genuinely think, maybe I'm just biased here, I thought we were by far the better team, and it'll be interesting to see how things go on Saturday, if it's the same sort of dynamic. But yeah, the issue that we had in that particular match, now say it with me, we wasted too many chances. How many times have I got to sit here and say this? I've not even been doing this channel that long, and I feel like I've said this in every fucking video so far. So, we were on a 2-game win streak before that in cup competitions. We had the 1-0 win last season in the Challenge Cup, which was away for him. And the season before that, which was the Scottish Cup quarter-final, famously, before... I think a game happened at Hampden in the semis. I don't really remember what happened. Let's swiftly move on. Before that, we played them in the League Cup group stages in the 2021 season. Lost 3-0 in that game. Again, let's just move the fuck on. Before that, we lost 2-1 in a League Cup game just after we had been relegated to the Seaside League. And before that, our last league meeting, so these were all cup games, bear in mind, the last league meeting was the relegation season itself on the 8th of March 2019, where we won the game 2-0, and Jordan McGee, now of Dundee, he's done alright for himself, scored both goals in that particular match. Now, on to the predictions themselves. One thing I want to just address before that, though, is that from speaking with a lot of the supporters over the week, there's definitely, and what I've noticed anyway, there's definitely 2 camps emerging here, where you've got, and it feels like, it really does feel like it's split down the middle here, you've got one camp which is all about caution and not putting too much pressure on the players, and then you've got the other side which is of expectation and putting pressure on the players because we want to keep standards high. The issue I've got here, Bairns, is that I'm really on the fence with this one. I know that sounds like a total cop-out, and maybe I'm a shite bag here, and maybe I should nail my colours to one mast or the other, but I genuinely feel like there's good points being made here on either side, whilst I do think that we should be cautious because, my God, we've suffered a lot over the last few years. We should also be confident at the same time because we do have a really, really good team, and it's really tricky to manage. I really feel like the truth is somewhere in the middle here. I do think that we can win this game. I would be going into this game hoping that we could win. I don't expect we're going to win, but I hope we will win. However, I won't be too gutted if we don't win. If we even end up getting a draw out of this game, it's no the worst result in the world. It's no. But in terms of being realistic here, we do need to factor in the injuries that we've got here. You know, Morrison, a lot of goals missing for the team. As soon as you take him out, what was it, 20, 23, 24 goals? It's on that thing back there, on that picture frame there. 23, I'm sure it's 23. So, no got him in the team, possibly. Nesbitt as well, Nae McKeever either. That's a lot of goals that we're missing straight away. This is going to be a tough game. Now, I know that the Ayr have got some players out as well, so maybe that will balance things out a wee bit. Them missing Dowds is going to be a huge factor, especially because they've not been able to bring in a replacement. I think it will be a really tough game. I do expect that it will be really tight, and I'm going to go for a wee channel favourite 1-0 on this one, for Falkirk, of course. And that just leaves us to Saturday itself. So, what's the plan, troops? What are we all up to on Saturday before the game? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you wouldn't mind liking, sharing and subscribing as well while you're at it. Come on, hundreds of you watch these videos, yet where's the likes? Where's the subscribes? Come on, help a guy out. So, what will I be up to on Saturday before the game? I will be heading through from Ayrshire, of course, and we will be grabbing some scran in the town centre before heading over to Elliott's for a few pints as well. So if you are going to be in the neighbourhood, be sure to say hello. And that's all I've really got to say, other than I'll catch you in the next video and moan the Bairns.